one of the simple elements or models of our art of feminine negotiation systems is what I call no fear negotiating. And the no fear, the fear is just an acronym, F-E-A-R. And that stands for no fear, no ego, no attachment, and no reactivity. So what do I mean by that? Often we approach negotiations coming from a place of fear. And let's face it, we all have fears, whether it's fear of failure, fear of rejection, or the often ignored sister to fear of failure is fear of success, especially as women, where we've been so deeply conditioned to be the nurturers and caregivers and not to let ourselves get too big for our britches. That fear of success can often lead to really self-sabotaging behavior that we're not even aware of unless we really get intentional about addressing those fears that are holding us back. Fear of the unknown is another. I've seen so many great potential deals get tanked because people start getting fearful about the unknown. And there are simple ways to be able to tackle some of these fears. Fear of missing out is another danger warning sign in negotiation. A lot of high-pressure salespeople use that fear of missing out to get you to jump into a deal that may not make sense for you because you're afraid you're going to miss it. They put artificial time constraints or limitations. There's only 3 left. You've got to grab it now. So those are some of the basic fears that we address in our programs and that fall into our no fear negotiating. When you recognize and raise your awareness level about these fears, you're able to find simple strategies to be able to overcome them so that they don't hamper your ability to get everything that you want and deserve in your negotiations. And the E is ego. Ego can be the kiss of death in a negotiation. And it shows up in many ways. Sometimes ego is talking too much, or needing to win, or being afraid to lose. These are all forms of ego. Wanting to be liked. People don't often see that as ego, but there's definitely an element of ego there. So maybe you give up too much in your negotiations because you're so worried about fitting in or being liked. That is another form of ego as well. So be really wary about ego showing up in your negotiations, because when you're being driven by ego, you're not going to be able to keep the clarity that you need to be able to make really informed decisions and to be able to work in a collaborative way to get better results in your negotiations. And that A is for attachment. What do I mean when I say no attachment? Well, go into a negotiation with real clarity about the outcomes that you want. And that includes, people often forget, certainly what you want, the matter of the negotiation, the thing or the items that you're negotiating over, but also consider the relationship outcomes. If you were negotiating with your child, there are times when you most certainly could win over your child. But what if allowing your child, who made an effort and came forward with some great arguments and approached it in a way that was actually really showing a level of maturity or a skill set that you would want to encourage and develop, maybe the outcome, the relationship outcome of that, and the outcome for your child in terms of future prospects is better to allow your child to win that negotiation, to reinforce, you know what? That was a great job. You showed up doing this and this and this, and those are all great negotiation skills. Good for you. Good for you. You put one over on me. That's awesome. Really proud of you. Looking for those outcomes. Once you've considered the outcomes that you want, also be careful though, don't ever get so attached to a particular result in a negotiation that you lose perspective. You need to always be able to walk away from the deal if you reach the point when that deal just doesn't make sense for you anymore. And the final factor in our no fear negotiating model is R, for reactivity. You can bring emotion to a negotiation by really knowing your deep why, tapping into what's really driving and motivating you. Figure out what the deep motivation and why is for the other party. So you can bring that extra emotional intensity, if you will, that drive, but don't be emotional in your negotiations. Don't allow emotion to overtake your ability, again, to have that clarity in the negotiation that you need, to be able to properly assess and weigh and balance the factors, and to make strategic decisions through the negotiation about how you should show up. What powerful questions you could ask to further enhance it. Once you get into reactive mode, you're going to lose that ability and then lose control of the negotiation itself and your capacity to be able to come up with the best deal. So avoid that fear, ego, attachment, and reactivity. And this, of course, is just a tiny little sneak peek about the concepts. In our programs, we go much, much deeper, but even raising your awareness with a simple understanding of this framework will make you a better negotiator if you bring this with intention to your next negotiation. So if this concept sounds interesting to you, if you recognize the value of learning the art of negotiation, then make sure to reach out to us, because all of life is a negotiation. So if this is something that you recognize is worth investing in for yourself, because it will help up-level your ability to get more of what you want and deserve, both personally and professionally, or from the boardroom to the bedroom, as I often say, then make sure to reach out to us and check out one of our programs. We have a range of resources available, from free ebooks on a number of the simple models and systems that make up our Art of Feminine Negotiation, to one-on-one intensive mastermind coaching where you get to work personally with me to push past some of those limiting beliefs and conditioning and be able to step into the most empowered version of yourself. So feel free to reach out today so we can book a discovery session and see if you're a fit for one of our programs. Take care.